In a significant policy statement, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz declared that the European Union will escalate its punitive measures against Russia, introducing a 17th sanctions package aimed at further weakening Moscow's economic resilience amid its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Merz's announcement came during a joint press conference in Rome with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, where both leaders reaffirmed their shared stance on reinforcing European unity in the face of continued Russian aggression. The upcoming sanctions package, scheduled for finalization at next week's EU summit, follows a fresh round of Ukraine-Russia peace talks held earlier this week, discussions that Merz described as a disappointment, noting that they fell short of our expectations. The talks, though modest in tone, failed to produce any concrete breakthroughs on ceasefire terms, humanitarian corridors, or prisoner exchanges, raising renewed concerns about the diplomatic deadlock that has persisted into the third year of the war. Merz emphasized that the EU's new sanctions would specifically target Russia's so-called shadow fleet, a vast and largely opaque network of oil tankers operating in the Baltic Sea and other regions. These vessels, often sailing under flags of convenience and operating without standard international safety or insurance certifications, have become instrumental in Russia's efforts to circumvent Western oil export restrictions. By selling crude oil through unregulated channels and concealing the origin and destination of shipments, Moscow has managed to maintain a steady stream of energy revenues, despite EU and G7 price caps, embargoes, and other trade restrictions. According to intelligence assessments and maritime tracking organizations, the shadow fleet comprises hundreds of ships, many of which were acquired after sanctions were imposed in 2022. These ships frequently disable transponders and engage in ship-to-ship transfers to avoid detection. Merz underscored that new EU measures will aim to block access to ports, deny insurance services, and seize illicitly operating vessels, effectively tightening the enforcement mechanism of existing sanctions. We cannot allow the circumvention of our sanctions regime through backdoor mechanisms, Merz stated. This shadow fleet represents not only an economic threat but also a security and environmental risk to the region. The decision to escalate sanctions reflects growing impatience within the EU over the protracted nature of the war and the limited effectiveness of past measures. While sanctions have hit key sectors of the Russian economy, including banking, technology, defense, and energy, Russia has managed to sustain parts of its revenue through new trade alliances with China, India, and other non-aligned states, as well as clandestine shipping practices. Merz and Meloni also touched on broader economic cooperation and the future of EU financial stability, during which the German Chancellor was asked to respond to ongoing speculation about a potential merger between Italy's UniCredit Bank and Germany's Commerzbank. The rumored merger, which has sparked considerable interest in European financial circles, would represent a rare cross-border consolidation in the EU banking sector, an area often hindered by national interests and regulatory fragmentation. Merz, however, dismissed the topic as outside the scope of his bilateral discussions with Prime Minister Meloni. He emphasized that no formal offer is currently on the table, and further stated that UniCredit's current shareholding in Commerzbank had dropped below the regulatory threshold, 30%, that would require it to initiate a mandatory takeover bid under German law. At this moment, there is no indication that this threshold will be reached or exceeded, he clarified, signaling that a merger is neither imminent nor desirable from the German government's point of view. He reiterated Berlin's long-standing position on maintaining Commerzbank's independence, noting that the institution plays a central role in financing small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, a pillar of the German economy. Our position is unchanged. Commerzbank should remain an independent institution serving the German market, Merz affirmed. This reflects both economic prudence and national interest. As the EU prepares to unveil new sanctions while navigating complex economic pressures at home, Merz's statements reflect Germany's dual commitment to standing firm against external threats while guarding its domestic financial infrastructure from unnecessary disruption. The meeting in Rome comes at a time of renewed efforts to strengthen Franco-German-Italian coordination on European security, energy policy, and economic sovereignty, as the bloc looks to reinforce internal cohesion in the face of global instability.
Bandiera d'istituto del 60° Sormo e reparto di formazione pronti per la rassegna.
Got it. Very angry. Dunque sono molto contenta di dare il benvenuto a Roma al nuovo primo.
In fact, all the issues that you tabled last year have proven to be the central issues that the world faces. And truly with the partnership between Italy, your leadership, our partnership, we can bring the G7 to a new level where we build on our values and we deliver prosperity for our citizens.
Ucraina, sulla quale condividiamo gli sforzi per una pace giusta e duratura e anche il